right? Asante Sana Warden. And as we stay out here in Harambe, Twende, that means let's go. All right, Jumbo friends, my name is Chelsea, and I'm going to be your safari guide here through the Harambe Wildlife Reserve. Now, as we get started, please make sure we're sitting down throughout our entire journey, whether we are stopped or moving. That goes for adults and children. Now, those children can't sit on the lap, that's okay, but sitting down and facing forward, no standing on laps, and please no holding them up in the air like Simba as we make our way through the reserve here. We don't want to get too wild, friends. But we got the all clear, so we're going to get started off heading into the little Ituri forest. Now, if you haven't taken a look above your heads, look up there real quick. There's an animal spotting guide up there for you. And that's going to be really helpful here along the way in identifying any animals we might find out here on the reserve. Now, don't look up there too long because we're going to see a bunch of animals here actually right at once. So up on our left, we're going to see a couple different antelopes. So a really light beige one, there's two of them here, are the greater kudu. You're going to notice they don't have any horns on top of their head. Oh, there's three of them in there. Yeah, there's three. And for the kudu, that means that those are females, because only the males have horns. Now also on the left are the bongos. They're the darker cinnamon brown antelope. Now all bongos have horns. They spiral backwards, and that's what allows them to navigate the forest really quickly without getting caught or snapped in the bushes or branches along the way. Now off on the right, a couple cool animals over there too. All the way off on the right, you're going to see an okapi over there hiding off in the brush. And okapis, they get mistaken for zebras because of those black and white stripes they have on their front and their hind legs. No relation whatsoever to the zebra. That's the only living relative of the giraffe. They have the exact same skeletal structure, just a lot shorter, and the same really long prehensile tongues. Their tongues are so long that they can lick their own eyeballs. It's really long tongues, I know. If you can see those two larger black and white birds that were on the right-hand side as well, those are saddle-billed stork, and they're pretty cool. They stand about 5 feet tall and have a 9-foot wingspan. And we can actually tell the difference between the male and the female stork just by their eye color. But you gotta be pretty close to see it. Now I want you to look all the way over our left-hand shoulder, because right underneath that cliff we're gonna see a black rhino facing towards us. You can just see its ears moving around. See all those rocks? There's actually a black rhino sitting right in front. I know it's a little bit harder to see because rhinos really do just look like giant rocks here when they're sleeping, but its horns facing straight towards us and its ears peeking up. They get up to 3,000 pounds, friends, and they don't have any natural predators out there in the wild, but they're still getting poached for their horns. Now, rhino horns we thought had medicinal properties, but we found out that's not the case. We were very wrong. Rhino horns are made out of keratin, and that is exactly what our hair and our fingernails are made out of. We have plenty of keratin, friends. We definitely don't need those rhino horns, too. If you happen to run into any poachers out there along your travels, pass along that message. Help out our rhino friends here. They sure could use it. But we're heading out of Ituri Forest and over into the Sapi River here. We're going to keep an eye out for any hippos that might be in the water here today. Now hippos, they are the largest river dwellers. They get up to 5,500 pounds. But friends, just like these two on the right here, they can be pretty tough to spot, so watch the water. They spend most of their day just like these two over here, basically completely in the water here. You can just see their nose sticking out there, yeah. There's two of them in there. If you have a hard time seeing the two on the right, look up on our left here because there's actually a whole bunch of hippos out here today doing exactly the same thing, just sort of hanging out in the water. Now this big group here is called a bloat. This is a bloat of hippos in the river today. And they are semi-aquatic animals, so they will come out on land, typically in the evening time though, when the sun's not quite so harsh. And when they're on land, they're looking for food. They're browsers, so they can actually wander up to 6 miles in search of food, looking for the perfect combination of grasses and tree bark in their diet. Now if they do come out on land during the day and they spend a little bit too much time sunbathing, which does happen, they'll start to turn sort of a reddish pink color. And it's actually not because of a sunburn. Hippos will actually start to ooze out this thick red liquid in their skin, which is a natural sunblock for them. It helps keep them protected. Lets them know they should probably get back to the water sometime soon. Now we gotta be really careful here today because on the left is a predator in the river. So these are the Nile crocodile. They are the largest African crocodilian species, getting up to 500 pounds, and they're anywhere from 16 to 20 feet long. Now their diet consists mainly of fish, but they do have extremely powerful jaws that allow them to successfully take down animals up to 2 times their size. That does include zebra and wildebeest and almost anything else that crosses their path. They are not particularly choosy. They can eat up to half of their body weight in just one meal alone, but it's 250 pounds if this is all at one time. Now they're pretty good parents too though, so when their eggs are getting ready to hatch, mom and dad will start to hold their eggs in their mouth, rolling them gently back and forth with their tongues. And what that does, it softens those eggshells up to make for an easier hatching. So it's pretty lucky for baby crocodiles. But I like to keep moving here just in case, and friends, we're gonna head into the savannah, which is the largest area out here on the reserve. Everyone has really great eyes. We did actually catch a glimpse of a couple giraffes up ahead. And they are actually pretty easy to spot even from a distance because they're the tallest land animals. They stand anywhere from 16 to 20 feet tall. And it looks like we're gonna see a whole group up ahead, which means we're gonna see a tower out here today. So that's what a group of giraffes is called. If you're looking all the way up on the right, you're gonna see them up ahead in the distance. And it does look like most of them up in that tower are actually eating. And friends, that's what giraffes do almost all day long. Giraffes eat up to 20 hours out of every single day. Pretty common for them just to browse around throughout the day. They have that same really long prehensile tongue like that okapi we saw earlier. Now, eating most of the day doesn't leave a lot of time for sleep. But giraffes, they only sleep for about 30 minutes total in any given day. Typically only sleeping about 5 minutes at a time. Now keep watch on the left here because we found another predator on the reserve today. These are the African wild dogs. We have a couple here in the sun, but we're gonna have a few more of the pack in the cave on our left-hand side. And they're also known as the painted dog because of the unique spotted coats that they have. Now they are one of the most fierce predators out here in Africa. They do hunt more successfully than lions and cheetahs because they hunt as a pack and they work together and they don't give up. They will literally chase their prey until their prey drops on the ground from exhaustion. So they're pretty tough. Don't want to take these fellas lightly out here. Now another really tough animal we're going to see out here in the savannah is on our left-hand side, and they're not a predator at all. Those are the sable antelope. You can see them with their really long crescent-shaped horns they have for protection. And they're very territorial. So oftentimes, just like today, we see them off all by themselves. And that's because the other animals out here, they know they're very territorial and they sort of let them be. Because if the sable antelope are faced with that fight or flight opportunity, they will choose the fight option every single time. So they are not one to back down from a challenge. Now as we make our way through the savannah here, you're going to notice a lot of these large cylinder-like structures around here. These are actually called termite mounds. And they do kind of come in all shapes and sizes out here because the animals actually all use them a little bit differently. Termite mounds actually are only made out of 3 different ingredients. So that's saliva, dirt, and dung. And they are hard as concrete. So the really big ones, large animals like elephants will use sort of as scratching posts throughout the day. And once elephants will wear them down, they have no use for them anymore once they can't reach them to scratch. The smaller ones get used by antelope. They sort of use them as a lookout post throughout the day. Because not all animals out here are quite as tall as the giraffe, right? Some of them need a little bit of help out here. So you use the smaller ones to help give them a little bit of a height advantage here. Now up ahead, we are going to see a couple animals, including those giraffes that we spotted on our way into the savannah. Also, we're going to see that herd of white-bearded wildebeest. So the wildebeest are pretty far back there, but you can see it's a really large herd. And that's not uncommon for wildebeest. Oftentimes we find them in herds of up to 100,000. So they actually live really close together. And the only other large mammals that live closer together than wildebeest are us humans. Now wildebeest also have a second name. They also go by the gnu, and that's spelled G-N-U. And they got that name because of the low grunting sound that they make. They sound really similar to an animal called a nunu. Very closely related here. Now we caught up with this tower here. It looks like we got 3 off on our right-hand side, and we're really close, so we can actually get a really awesome view of their spots here today. And their spots can tell us what kind of giraffe that we're seeing. You're going to notice their spots have sort of a rough, jagged edge to them, and that means that these are actually Maasai giraffes. One of the 9 different subspecies of giraffes that are out there that we could have possibly found. The one in your spotting guide does show you a reticulated giraffe, just a little bit different. You can see the difference when you compare their spots here. Now up on the left, we are going to see a couple more giraffes, and it looks like one of these is a baby giraffe. And you're going to see not quite as tall as the rest. Oh, there's a couple little ones in there. Yeah, so there's actually 3 babies. You're gonna see the littlest one right in the middle there. Now, baby giraffes are actually born at about 6 feet tall, and they're born from a standing position. So the first thing that they experience in life is that 6-foot drop to the ground. So a little bit of a rough start for them here, but they are up and running with mom and the rest of the tower within an hour of being born. That's because they don't want to get left behind. They got to keep up with them. Now, even being the tallest land animal, giraffes actually have the same number of neck vertebrae that we do as humans. We have 7, just like us. Giraffes only have 7 neck vertebrae. Pretty crazy how much taller they are than us. But friends, we're heading into elephant territory here. Keep watch on the right. We found 2 of them out here today. Elephants are the heaviest land mammals. They can be anywhere from 9,000 to 13,000 pounds. See them hanging out here. Now elephants, they do, males and females, they have tusks, so we really don't always know whether they're male or female right off the bat when we find them out here. Elephants are typically found in herds, and a herd of elephants is led by the oldest and wisest female in the group. They're led by a matriarch. Now the male elephants, the males, they do get kicked out at about 16 years old. And once they leave their initial herd, the males do tend to live a little bit more solitary. You can see them here one more time off over our right hand shoulder. So when we only find 1 or 2 elephants out here, that's actually a really great indicator of if we found male elephants, because they do usually live alone or in loose bachelor herds. Now I'm going to head this way to see if we might find the rest of the herd out this way. I think they just got separated out here today. Let's find out. Now male elephants too, they're really cool. They never stop growing. So male elephants are going to be the ones that are getting up to that higher 13,000 pound mark in weight. And getting up to 13 feet tall, just because they will continuously grow throughout their entire life. Now it does look like there are a lot of tusk marks here in the clay, which is great news for us. It means there have been a lot of elephants out in this area. Elephants will use their tusks to dig right through the clay. They'll eat the iron right out of it. It's basically like a multivitamin for them here. Looks like we're going to see another big fella here off on our left-hand side. And you might notice these elephants, they look a little bit dirty. Well, that's something elephants do all on their own. They like to throw mud and water on themselves throughout the day. Helps keep them cool, but they also are using that mud as a natural sunblock. They have really sensitive skin, so it does help keep them protected here. Elephants are very intelligent, very smart animals. All land animals, in fact. Elephants, they have the largest brains. Very self-aware animals, and they can show empathy towards one another, which is really rare to find. Now, elephants are also one of the really incredible animals here on the reserve that could use a little bit of extra help from us. And there's a super easy way to help out elephants just by recycling any old electronics you have laying around your house. Cell phones, laptops, tablets, anything like that. They all have a metallic ore in them called coltan, and by recycling them, we reduce the need to mine for it, and that saves our elephant habitat. Now keep looking on the left there, because that one elephant behind that big baobab tree, that's actually a baby elephant we're seeing it just kind of sneak around there. We might get one more glimpse as we come up ahead. Baby elephants are actually really big. They're born at about 200 and 300 pounds. And they're carried by a mother elephant for 22 months before they give birth. So that's almost 2 years, friends. We are really close to that herd of wildebeest as well up on our right. So we saw that herd off in the distance. Those are the wildebeest again up on the right. Now we are going to get a really awesome view of this other elephant here up on the left. And we're going to see it flapping its ears back and forth. That's something really common that elephants do as well to stay cool. So flapping their ears is actually cooling down their blood vessels in their ears. And that's cooling down the blood pumping through the rest of their body. So it actually cools the entire elephant down about 10 degrees. Now we're going to see a smaller animal out on the reserve today as well. Because on the left, these are the greater flamingo. Now they are actually the largest species of flamingo and the lightest shade of pink. And they're not actually born pink. They're born sort of a grayish white color. Not getting their pink shade until they eat a whole bunch of the brine shrimp in their diet. That's what has all that beta carotene in it, which gives them their shape. And a whole big group just like this one here is called a flamboyant. So we found a whole flamboyant of greater flamingos here today. And we did get one pretty awesome view here of that last elephant before we head to the other side of the savannah here. We'll rotate one more time. Now it looks like we're gonna see some rhinos out here today. So we caught a glimpse of a black rhino earlier, but it was pretty hard to see. These fellas much easier for us to see. Friends, these are white rhinos. They get up to 5,000 pounds, and if you remember the black rhino, they only get up to 3,000 pounds, so much different in size. And look how many white rhinos there are here today. They're actually a social animal. They live in groups called crashes. This is a really good crash of white rhinos out here today. Now, kind of like the elephants, white rhinos also really like the mud. So a lot of the times we see them rolling around in it out here to protect themselves from the sun. They use it as a sunblock, as a bug repellent. Protected your teeth, the pools like the elephants. Now we are going to be super close to these fellas here off on the left, so I want you to look at a couple of things while we pass by. Take a look at their eyes and their ears. Now their eyes are on opposite sides of their face. That doesn't do a whole lot for their vision. Friends, they can only see about 10 feet in front of them. So really not the best vision here, but watch their ears moving all around. They can actually rotate their ears around 180 degrees. So even though they don't have the best vision, they can definitely hear that we're out here. Now even with their large size, white rhinos can charge at 35 miles per hour, so they're pretty quick. And they are the largest animals that can gallop, and what that means is they can get all four of their legs off the ground at one time, which wouldn't really be that impressive except for that they weigh 5,000 pounds, so that's kind of cool that they can still do that. Now we are coming up to this large rock formation up ahead. And friends, this is called a Kofi rock formation. And this is where large cats like lions like to hang out throughout the day. They will use it as a lookout over the savannah. Keep an eye out there on things. But lions actually are nocturnal animals. So they will sleep 18 to 20 hours out of any given day. No matter where you see them, in the zoo, in the wild, on a reserve, doesn't matter, they like to sleep. Oh, and look on the lower rocks, friends, there is a lazy male lion down there, doing just what we talked about, sort of snoozing away here. They are the largest African cats, friends. They get up to 500 pounds. That mane of hair around his face weighs about 40 pounds all by itself, so he's a pretty hefty fella. Female's not far behind in weight. Oh, there's a female lioness just above him as well here. Now they are a male-dominated group, but it's the females that do the hunting. There are two females here, so we found a whole pride out here today. Now the females will go out at nighttime to hunt, and they work together as a group. Their vision is 6 times better at night than it is during the day. So they'll go out, bring back their food. The males are the ones that eat first. Then the females, and then the cubs get whatever is left over. The males, they do typically just stay back to protect their territory, any cubs that might be in their pride. Now you can hear a lion roaring from up to 5 miles away. It's very loud, very intimidating sounding. That's exactly what they want it for, to intimidate others, to protect their territory. Out here today. Now it looks like we stumbled upon a nest of ostrich eggs off on the right hand side here. So we're looking on the right, there's a whole nest out here, and they're pretty easy to identify because of how big they are. Ostrich, they actually are the largest birds, and they lay the largest eggs. Each one of those eggs weighs about 3 pounds each. And friends, that's roughly the equivalent of 2 dozen chicken eggs when you compare the two. And they are really strong. So you can stand a 250-pound person right on top of an ostrich egg without cracking it even a little bit. So they're very tough. And it's not uncommon for us to find eggs and no ostrich inside. They're kind of known for laying off eggs and just sort of wandering off. They're really not the best parents out here. Got a little bit of work to do, our ostrich friends. They do come back eventually, though, to incubate them, keep them safe here, but being pretty tough, they don't mind leaving them on their own for a little bit. Now we are heading into the last area on our reserve here. This is the Masani Glen. And it's actually pretty quiet compared to the rest of the reserve. So we don't always see a whole lot of action out here, but it looks like we are going to see one more really cool animal here on our way out. So keep an eye out on the left-hand side. We are going to see a scimitar horned oryx up there. Now, scimitar horned oryx, they are typically desert dwellers. They can go 9 months out of the year without drinking a single drop of water, just getting all the water that they possibly need from the vegetation that they're eating. And they're really great at conserving their water too. They won't start sweating until their body temperatures reach 115 degrees. So they're all set up for that desert life. Even their white coat helps them keep their body temperatures down. So they literally won't start sweating until they absolutely have to. Now friends, we have reached the edge of our reserve here. So hopefully you'll have a really great safari here with me today. And the good news is you are still in the animal kingdom, so your adventure does not have to stop here with me. So keep your eyes peeled in between these fast passes throughout your day, because you never know where you might see a really incredible animal along the way. Over in Dino Land, Asia, Discovery Island, cool little trails around the Tree of Life to check out as well for some cool animals. Now we also have two really big trails to check out while you're here. In Asia is the Maharaja Jungle Trek. We have the tigers over there. And here in Harambe, we are right next door to the Gorilla Falls Trail. And if you have not heard, there is a brand new baby gorilla out there, and she's super cute. So if you're interested in seeing some more animals and baby animals, check out Gorilla Falls while you're here today. She's only about 2 weeks old, and she likes to hang out with mom most of the time. So walking down that trail, you might get a chance to see her hanging out today. Now, if you do also want to help out any animals here that you're seeing throughout the park, supporting the Disney Conservation Fund is really an awesome place to start. Disney does an incredible job at protecting wildlife. They work really hard at just getting people around the world engaged and involved in their efforts and projects day to day, which is really cool. They also don't keep any of those donations for profit. Every single donation gets matched by Disney, dollar for dollar, penny for penny. It all goes towards wildlife, which is really great for the animals and also really great for us to know that those donations are going to an incredible cause.